Do you really like Packard Pokes At and want to promote the show? Then go to cafepress.com/Packard Pokes At. There are hundreds of items available, including hats, shirts, hoodies, and so much more. Every purchase from cafepress.com/Packard Pokes At helps support the show. Your Packard Pokes At coffee mug is waiting for you.
Do you want to stream Packard Pokes At on your iPhone or BlackBerry? Download Stitcher free today at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
You're on in 3, 2, 1.
This is Packard Pokes At, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokes At. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining us tonight from the far east coast is Crystal Says So.
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And joining us from the far west coast is Connie Practical Magic 9.
All work and no play makes Packard something.
That's why I bought an Xbox. So that something doesn't happen. I don't want to fill in those blanks. Before we get started, a couple things. One, this is episode number 143. So if you're marking this on your calendar, episode 143. Also, we have some kind of sad news that's been kind of going around. There's really no good way to put it. We lost one of our co-hosts, apparently just this last December. We just found out just earlier this week that Medusa Rance, who was a big part of the show, she apparently passed away back in December 16th, I believe. And she's going to be very well missed on the show here. Her voice has been encapsulated here on the show and in some of the extra special clips that we have that I've made available over the course of the show. We will be putting together a memorial video for her in the upcoming weeks, so you can kind of reminisce with everybody and remember her for the great person that she was. Anybody like to say anything before we get going on that?
Just bear with us, people. This is a little hard show to do for us.
Yes, but knowing her, she would want us to continue on. And
yes, Daddy-O.
She'd want us to laugh, I think.
Yes, she would.
She really would.
Yes, she would. Laugh. Yes. So this episode goes out to the memory of Medusa Rance. Anyway, let's get on to our first topic for this evening.
Building a better future, science and technology.
When you're out and you're out at a restaurant or something, and some people have a tendency to, get a little over anxious with what they're eating. And like spaghetti or lasagna or whatever, and it ends up on your shirt than in your stomach, and then when you try to get this stuff home in time, it's sometimes the food particles just stain right in. Mustard is really good for this, but help is on the way. They're working on, and it's coming really close to coming to fruition. A stain-free, self-cleaning fabric and clothing are on the horizon. According to physics.org, since 2011, the Harvard research team that created the slippery liquid-infused porous surface, also known as SLIPS, has demonstrated a spate. That's what it says, spate. I've never heard the word spate before like this, or any time before, actually. It's the application for a super silk coating known as the SLIPS, which repels nearly every substance it touches: water, ice, oil, salt water, blood, wax, and apparently a lot more other substances. They basically looked back at nature for a couple different plants. One was the lotus leaf, which apparently uses an air surface barrier between the leaf and itself. So, like if water falls onto it, it basically just shoots right off. The only problem with that is when it gets mangled or whatever, then the air barrier is gone. So they turned to another source of nature, and they went to the pitcher plant. The pitcher plant has the surface with that one is it uses something similar to it, but it allows it to stay more slippery even in harsher conditions. So when they took two different forms of the material that it came out with, like one was a gel form and one was a spray on or something like this, and they infused it into the fabric of some T-shirts that you just purchased on campus, and they put it through the ringers and all kinds of like that, so they could see what they could do with it and see how well they could get it to mesh in and still retain its slippery substance. Crystal, your thoughts?
This blew my mind whenever I read it, and as a mom that has a big boy now, but a little boy back then, and how many clothes that we had to replace, this is fascinating. I'm thinking, yes, all clothes need to be made out of this material.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting to read the story where they actually are looking at plants. This came from plants. So, maybe the medicine people did have a right idea that our healing is out in nature and our answers to our everyday problems are out in nature.
Well, yeah, we are part of nature. We're just looking more at nature now for new materials and things like that. The aspirin comes from a plant too. So, they'd done this with medications for a long time. They found stuff that works naturally, and they figure out what natural of it from that natural plant works, and then they derive medication from that. Cocaine it is used for medication too, not just to get high off of, and a lot of other things. So turning to nature is not a new technique. It's been around for quite some time. Scientists often go back to nature for a lot of things, like robotics and everything like that. They're turning to nature to examine the way the animals walk to get their machines to act like the animals. So this is not unheard of.
No, I think that the one thing that the article, and there's several cross references that it gave to, it really did point to more of the biomedical field,
Mm-hmm.
where you need this in catheters, in dressings, in tubings,
Oh, yeah.
so that it will inhibit bacteria, because like you're giving blood through plastic piping, and you've got cells in it, of course, and they clump up and they grow bacteria. So this is really fascinating, I think, in fighting infections like within the hospitals, nursing homes. And that's what I was thinking of more than anything. That, and I really do need carpet like that. Really bad.
Bad doggy, but don't worry, we can clean it now.
Yeah, go ahead and take a pee on the rug. Go ahead.
Yeah, but they said they also infuse this. They put this material on refrigerator coils where they don't want the bacteria, and and medical equipment where they don't want staph and things like that to grow on and so forth, or I should say mold on the refrigerant stuff there, which is kind of cool. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, actually, the refrigerator coils was to keep. I got a sneezing cat. Sorry about that. To keep ice from forming, and now that made me think of something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, what if they could put this on the wings of planes?
Oh,
and keep
interesting.
ice from forming on planes. That would be an amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
The lenses of glasses and windows. Now that was another problem. They were having trouble with how to get it to form, and what they basically did was they have to create a honeycomb kind of a structure that they can then put this material. Then I think they put the glass material in, and then they put the slips on top, or the slips somehow skims across the surface, and it's like, and it acts like when you have an ice rink and you put a small layer of water on it, it helps you to be skaters to skate smoothly.
Oh, yeah.
It's so that's kind of what this does, and so it's going to repel like dirt and other things. It makes it stronger.
Yes.
And but the only problem they have with this material is it's not breathable.
Right.
So if you want to go jogging with your cotton T-shirt, you're going to wring out a bunch of sweat.
Yeah.
But they're working on that, and the idea of it keeps bacteria from forming on medical devices, and so this non-porous, non-breathable cloth would be really good for biohazard clothing, tactical military lab coats, some construction and manufacturing clothing, and tents, stadiums, things like that.
Oh, yes.
So even right now, without it being breathable, there's so many things, and they just have to figure out the correct application for clothing. And yes, Crystal, having had 9 kids, the idea of having surfaces that are repellent to stains would be an absolutely wonderful thing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
You know, there's another way that stops stains like that from happening. Don't have pets and don't have children. Then the stains just never happen.
But what would YouTube be? Where would YouTube be without videos of cats, dogs, and kids? I ask you.
This is true. This is true.
I mean-
I'd be awfully lonely, but I'd have stain-free carpet.
And it'd give you a really good reason not to even wash your clothes. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, wash? Pff,
Laundry?
I've got
What's
stain.
that?
What is that? Yeah. You
One step
just wear it
closer
one
to
day and then
jet
hang it right back
skis.
up in the closet. Or just
kind of the way boys do it anyway, don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we
You
just
kind of give it the sniff test if it's okay.
Yes.
There's this great scene from Ghostbusters 2 where Venkman's looking for his shirt, his particular shirt. He goes, "I have a hamper." He's like, "This isn't dirty. I have many subtle layers of dirt. You know, hang this outside for a couple of hours. It's good to go. You know."
Oh.
Yeah.
But
Spray it with some Febreze. You're all good.
yeah, you put a little Febreze on it, you're good to go. Anyway, let's get on to our next topic for this evening.
Well,
I'm not the brightest crayon in the box.
When you're out bicycling or doing some kind of sports thing, there's a lot of things you can do that you can end up injuring yourself. Well, injuries come in all kinds of forms, like broken finger, broken toes, broken legs, broken arms, penises that are erect for weeks on end. I wish I was only kidding about that. Apparently, this man over in Ireland, it was written up in the January edition of the Irish Medical Journal. What happened was, after he fell on his bicycle, he fell on the crossbar of the bicycle, something happened, and he ended up having an erection for 7 weeks long. I mean, there's an old joke I think Bill Engthal says, if you're having an erection for longer than 4 hours, contact a doctor. I mean, who has sex for longer than 4 hours? After that, you're not making love. You're just a circus act at that point. But but this poor man, he's only 22 years old, and the risk of priapism, that's where a man's penis just does not shrink. And after something like that happens, he may never usually get an erection again. What they were able to do, however, is they were able to go in with some minor surgery, go in and block off the blood vessel that was causing this and shrink it back down. And he's fine today. He was able to have an erection normally and enjoy intercourse again. He is very, very fortunate in this, because 7 weeks of it, wow, I just couldn't imagine that. Crystal, your thoughts?
First of all, let me give a little tribute to Medusa. Priapism is the name for an erect penis that will not go flaccid.
Uh-huh.
And that's from the Greek god Priapus, which was the fertility god. And, he was supposedly walking around with this really huge dong, okay? And it was permanently erect. So, Medusa, that was for you.
I wish she would hear that. So
She's laughing about that right now.
I'm sure she would be.
know
If she were here, she'd hear it. You should be laughing right now.
A priapism is a medical emergency.
Yes, it is.
And it's considered such. How this guy went that long, if this had not been reported in a reputable medical journal, I would have highly doubted it. Because after so many hours, days, whatever, you start to get tissue death through that.
Yes.
How he avoided that, I don't know. Thank goodness he did. What they actually did was go in, they took the artery that was bleeding, and they made a shunt into the vein.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so it drained the blood back to the vein and back into the circulation, thus actually saving his penis. I don't think that he would have kept it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been as bad off as that kid that got his dick cut off by the rabbi. I mean,
the bris?
Right.
Yeah, the bris.
The
Yeah,
bris
we
or
talked about
brisket?
Yeah, he would have gone to a miss real quick, But
and not only that, but it's painful. This is a painful condition usually. But they say there's two types. There's one that's one that's caused by like medications, like I don't know, cocaine, Viagra, Spanish fly, etc.
Oh, Spanish fly actually doesn't work.
And then you've got your low flow, so it's not as high of a flow of blood going into the penis, which is less painful, but it still is painful. I've seen men coming in screaming like women in labor over this. It is terribly painful. So I bless his heart. I'm glad he was only 22.
Yeah. Well, if he'd been a little bit older, he probably wouldn't have been out there to begin with. When you're 22, you think hey, I'm fucking invincible. I can do anything.
Well, that might be why he recovered.
Yeah.
Why he managed, though, too, especially if he was a regular mountain biker, maybe he was really fit.
Right, because what the article said, for 5 weeks, he had it at home for 5 weeks, and then they tried to treat it with compression dressings and everything else for 2 weeks, and that didn't work. And they had some minor success with it, but then the erection would just come right back
once the compression was Hey, Crystal, I looked this up, and I saw an article that said, maybe it was the actual article in Ireland. It said that there's the low blood flow, which is normally a vein, and then you have high blood flow, which usually indicates an artery. And I thought that they said in the article that the high blood flow is generally painless for some reason. And I thought, well, that seemed odd. I wonder if that was a misprint.
It probably was, because I actually did contact a urologist and got some information today. I was pretty up on this, but my understanding is the low flow is not as painful and the high flow is more.
That makes more sense to me.
Okay. All right. Oh, Connie, you want to continue on then, please?
Oh, well, okay. The only thing I found that made me giggle like a stupid little 5th grade girl was there is a small...
Because penises are funny.
An angiography confirmed that it was an arterial fistula. And I don't know.
I'll tell you, a fistula?
A fistula.
Is that one of those sex toys you can buy at the sex shop?
It sounded like something that should have been in one of those orgy movies or something.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I'm bringing out the arterial fistula.
It's just an abnormal connection between the two arteries, or artery and the vein.
Right. So, well, and evidently that even though there's a lot of injuries, the injury of a crossbar, it's actually pretty rare. In at least in their journal, it said the general rate of injury among mountain bikers is 1.54 per 1,000 bike exposures, and in 202 cases, only 2 were priapism. Is that how you pronounce it?
Priapism.
Followed by crossbar straddling.
Yeah.
So it's not that common. I don't know why men don't just. Why they need that bar there anyway? We women, we're smarter. I think we have that. We don't have
exactly my thoughts. Ride a girl's bike, for crying out loud.
Oh. There's. I don't know why they put it like the difference between a girl's bike and a boy's bike. I remember someone telling me this explanation why they changed the bar lower for the girls and leave the crossbar for the guys. That to me that's always seems silly. It's to genderize a bicycle, the way a bicycle looks, just because a female is riding it versus a male is riding it. Doesn't make any sense.
Have something to do with wearing dresses and modesty.
Yeah, maybe. That's quite possibly.
And then you have to swing, a woman would have to swing her leg kind of high to get over the bar. And why did women ride side saddle? But I have wondered that.
Yeah, my daughter has something she wants to add in real quick.
Yes.
Well, the reason why the bar was lowered for the women's bike was because she was wearing, when she would wear dresses, so the dress wouldn't ride up and show her panties and stuff. So it would the dress would sit better and wouldn't ride up and all that. And that's the reason why. I just kind of remembered what my dad said, like for wearing dress or whatever, or it was Connie or someone. I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so apparently it was so women could get on with the dress. I mean,
modesty.
It's a modesty thing. Don't worry about safety. Don't worry about your bones or your any part of your innards. We're just going to worry about the dress.
I think we were the smart ones. Now y'all got to worry about y'all's boners instead of our bones. It also said carbon monoxide poisoning and black widow spider bites can cause priapism. That was interesting.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad I don't have black widows and spiders biting me in that area, because then, unless you have a date that you want to have all weekend, and it's like, here, bring the spider over. We got things to do. I mean,
What stuff? Just things.
Spanish fly, come on.
Oh.
Anyway, all right. Well, we have to get moving on. If you want to make a comment on what we've just been talking about tonight, the phone number is below here, and its number is 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727. And if you want to get in contact with us other ways, we have email, and we're on Twitter and Facebook. And if you can, please go to facebook.com/Packard Pokes At, and please hit the like button. That would really help us out. And we're going to give you all the information how to contact us right now.
Would you like to contact us? Your host, Packard Sonic, and his very honored and crazy co-hosts, with occasional guest hosts, enjoy your comments or suggestions. You can reach us 28 hours a day, 8 days a week on A Can on a String, Smoke Signals, Star Trek Communicator? Those may not work, but you can contact us on Twitter as Packard Pokes At, and by email at packardpokesat@gmail.com. You can also listen and join in the conversation live Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time on vaughnlive.tv/PackardPokesAt. You can find past shows on iTunes, YouTube, Mixler Radio, and Stitcher Radio. Help us out by rating, commenting, subscribing, retweeting, and reposting the show wherever you can. Click the like button on Facebook/PackardPokesAt to join in the conversation. Would you like to help keep the show running and pick up some awesome Packard Pokes At merchandise? Visit cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt today and buy hats, shirts, or one of over 300 other items that are also available. Visit packardpokesat.wordpress.com for links to the news articles covered tonight and more information on this or other episodes. We hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for listening and your support.
And thank you, Joe. And you're not even here, but you're still managed to get that in there. I have no idea how he does it. He just tunnels in there, I think.
He sounds so lifelike.
I know, he sounds like he's actually here and so alive.
Like an angelic announcement.
Right. It comes from nowhere. Anyway.
I hear it in my sleep.
Do you? I hear it when I'm out driving. It's like Joe's commercial comes in and I was like, oh, yeah, it's time for Packard Pokes At again. Oh. All right, well, let's get on to our next topic for this evening. And tonight we're going to be talking about a video. We're going to talk about Glenn Beck again. He's such a wonderful guy. He just speaks such beautiful things through his ass. This time he's saying that Obamacare is a violation of church and state. How he puts this all together, well, we'll let him tell you.
Can you imagine if there was a faith out there? And let's just take it out of the God realm. They don't believe in God. And can you imagine if they said, you have to believe these things and you have to pay tithing to our church. Otherwise, you're not a legal citizen. I contend that's what Obamacare is. That is your tithing to their church. The Church of Man. The Church of Washington, D.C., the National Cathedral, which is the Washington, the Capitol or the White House. That's our new cathedral. And they are making you pay tithing and bow down to that God. And if not, you are an illegal citizen. That is what they were talking about with the separation of church and state. You are not forced into any man's belief. That's the difference. And here we have a group of people, these fascists. Let's start calling these progressives what they are. They are fascists.
Oh, Glenn Beck, he's such a wonderful person. Let me just, I got a quick few notes here. He says that they don't believe in God, and they're taking the whole, let's take God out of the equation because they don't believe in God, but he's still talking about faith. Well, don't you really have to have a belief in something to have faith in that? I mean, just if you take God out of the faith, then the whole meaning of faith is pointless, basically. And another one is where he says, if you don't pay taxes, that means you're not an American citizen. Where does it say that? I've never seen that in any part of the Constitution. In Article 2, it says, if you don't pay your taxes, you're not an American citizen anymore. Therefore, we're going to kick you out of the country. It doesn't say that. So, he's talking out of his ass. And where he says Church of Man, that's the weirdest thing. I was sitting here for 10 minutes just thinking about trying to figure out what he's trying to say on that. But if there's a Church of Man, then if he was paying tithes to the government, well, then apparently he was doing this to all the Republicans that are in charge as well. So does he also think he was paying tithes to them? And if he doesn't, then he's just being ad hominem. And where he said, which I thought was irony incarnate, he says, we're not forced to force a man to believe what you want to believe, or force a man into their beliefs. The irony right there, because he's sitting there with a fucking cross on his fucking hat, and on the back of it, I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but on the back it says "in his grip." It sounds like he's into serious masturbation. He just doesn't want to admit it, but. But anyway, he doesn't see the irony of this. But he's sitting there trying to force religion down other people's throats every chance he fucking gets. And as for the last part, he was talking about fascism. Let me just give a quick definition of fascism here, because I think it really matters in the context of this. And now, fascism is an authoritarian or totalitarian national political ideology. Fascists seek to organize a nation according to corporalists making corporations, perspectives, values, and systems, including political systems and the economy. Fascism was originally founded by the Italian national syndicalists in World War I, who combined extreme right-wing, which is Glenn Beck, is exactly what he is. He's right-wing, extreme right-wing political views, along with collectivism, generally considered far right. The synthetic elements of fascist ideology make it difficult to classify on a left-right spectrum. Fascists believe in a nation is organically community that requires strong leadership, singular collective identity, and the will and ability to commit violence and wage war in order to keep the nation strong. Now, there's a lot of Christians out there that think the same thing. They want war a lot, and the political right wing, they want to stay in war. Now let's taper that with progressive. The progressives there. Now, progressivism is a general political philosophy based on the idea of progress that asserts that advances in science, technology, and economy development and social organization can improve the human condition. Now, this one is much longer. I'm not going to get into all of it. There'll be a couple links at packardpokes@wordpress.com so you can read them, what I've got here. But these things are not the same. Krista, your thoughts?
I think he's an asshole is what I think, actually. He does not, I don't think, speak for the majority of the Christian belief anyway. I think everybody thinks he's like half crazy. Well, no, mostly crazy. He's talking separation of church and state, but yet this is the same man that wants the Ten Commandments in the courthouse, right? So you're really being a big hypocrite whenever you're coming one to the other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't understand how he's pulling this. If you have to believe, you have to pay the tithing, or you're not the legal citizen. Where the hell did that come from?
I wish I knew. He pulled that one out of his ass, obviously.
He really pulled that one out of his ass. He needs to learn what a fascist is to begin with. Mm-hmm. If our taxes are going to go to pay for health care, and that's not supposed to be a good thing, then honestly it shouldn't go to pay the military either.
That's a good point.
That's just one example.
Yes.
I think that cross should have been an X on his forehead instead, honestly.
I think that should have been a bullseye, so someone else... No, I'm just kidding. Don't.
Progressivism does not mean fascism. I don't know why he wants to associate the two, but I don't think I've ever seen a bigger hypocrite in my life.
I've heard him say that, not on this particular one, but I've heard him call socialist fascism as like, those two aren't even the same either. It's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, does he not realize that if it was a fascist society, that they would come drag his fat ass out of that chair
and beat him
kick him in the nuts and go to some kind of concentration camp, somewhere. That's fascism. He needs to shut up.
That's right. Or if this was a fascist society, he'd have... I hate to go there, but he'd have a symbol other than the cross on his hat there, and he'd be spewing the right wing agenda, and loving every minute of it. They called those are the kind of people back from World War I and World War II. They had the propagandists. They were, that's all they were. They were just propagandists, and they didn't give any facts whatsoever. Connie, your thoughts?
Well, when I looked back on this, I wanted to double check. What he was referring to the tithe, he's talking about Obamacare. Mm-hmm. And so it's not even taxes. It's that, if you don't get health care, if you're not responsible and get your own health care, then you'll pay a penalty. It's not a tithe, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you not a citizen. And what the penalty is, it's equal to what you would have paid if you had gone ahead and gotten even just the government's form of health care.
Right.
And it's based upon your income and family size.
Right.
That's all that was. I hate that he says they don't believe in God, that wonderful, all-powerful they, because everybody knows President Obama has said he's a Christian, and a lot of people in Congress, they say that they're Christians. They claim to be Christians. Mm-hmm. They're just not his kind of Christian.
Yeah, he's a Mormon, actually.
Yeah, well, I used to say, they're not Christians too. I mean, I did that when I was a Christian. But I go, well, they all pretty much believe in God, and it doesn't matter that they think there's magic underwear. People think there's there's people who think they're talking snakes literally, and and Jesus rode a dinosaur. And that's not all Christians, but we have that sect, and this is the particular sect though that he seems to be aligning with, when the Dave Bartons and the Pat Robertson is dominionism, and that's what got me about this. He doesn't understand what fascism is. You've already pointed it out, and when I looked at Wiki, it says fascism is in opposition to communism, socialism, traditional conservatism, and it is particularly hostile to liberal democracy. Mm-hmm. The features of fascism is veneration of the state, devotion to a strong leader, emphasis on ultranationalism and militarism, and it views political violence, war, and imperialism as a means to achieve national rejuvenation.
Right.
And when you look at imperialism, it's about dominance.
Yes.
That is the Dominion, the Dominion theology. That is what they want. They want to take America for Christ, and they say this is what's going to restore America. They think they have the founding fathers' very wishes when they're doing this, and that's what they're promoting.
Right.
And Beck I have some quotes. He says, "We are the new revolutionaries, and I am anti-establishment." Next one, "We are chosen by God to save this nation. The reboot is coming. In calamity, I see tremendous opportunity." And we already know, like Crystal said, he wants the 10 Commandments in every courthouse and that's what he wants to base our laws off of. He's not the only example, but and I realize we're pretty much just talking about some very, very vocal fundamentalist and Pentecostal type people. I'm actually more than a little afraid of them. We have, WorldNet Daily and Hal Lindsey and all these people inciting people who are just truly, truly blind sheep.
Oh,
and,
yes.
He's pot kettle black. Beck is ignorant, and that makes him all the more dangerous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So. He is a dangerous individual. And like you said, I think, and Crystal alluded to it precisely. If this was a fascist society and he was speaking out against the government the way he is, they would have shoved him in a box, thrown away the box, and destroyed the box before they threw it away.
Right.
He's a fucking idiot.
He wants the fascist government where he's in charge.
Oh, yeah.
His group is in charge because they're benevolent, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm very sorry for all of the very moderate and kind Christians out there who, even though I disagree with you about all of that, this is the kind of clown that everybody has to endure. So.
Yeah, and Joe in the chat room, he says, Obama's a Muslim. Internet told me so.
It must be true.
Must be true. I've said it on the internet.
It's on the internet.
It's on the internet.
Go, Joe.
Internet said I did inform him. Yes.
Yes. We have internet in the chat room tonight.
Yes. Yay. Welcome, internet.
Welcome, internet, to the chat room. Anyway. Yeah, no,
it's scary though, because he does have so many followers. He's got so many listeners, and like Connie said, it is scary because it is nothing short of ignorance. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to say it's just plain ignorance.
Oh, it is ignorance. But it's not an ignorance of like, oh, I made a mistake ignorance. It's willful ignorance. I know I'm lying. I know this is bullshit, but I'm going to say it, just because.
It's propaganda.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's willful ignorance and propaganda. It's exactly what it is. And I don't want to say I want to inhibit his free speech, because I don't. But what he's saying is I think is tantamount to saying fire in a crowded theater. He's getting people. He's saying shit that get people to think, oh, this is true. And it's a lie, and it's gonna stir up a myriad of problems that wouldn't be there otherwise. People like him, they're not looking to inform; they just want to cause shit. They
don't want people to think; they want them to assimilate. I just, that's what's really sad. If more people were taught to think critically, they would look at this and say, "Why don't you just grow up and go read a book?"
Yeah, exactly.
Go sit in the corner, But no, we have an ill-informed populace that eat this stuff up.
Oh yeah.
So
they've been watching Fox News.
Hell yeah.
News, yeah. Santa Claus is just white. Just deal with it.
That's it. I was just kidding when I said Santa Claus was white, but I wasn't kidding because it really is white. What?
What?
Sorry, that goes back a few months.
I guess she drinks the bleach, and that's how her hair is blonde.
Yeah.
What? That's a new level.
That's blonde from the inside out.
Well,
it made her brain blonde along the way.
Maybe we just tell her to keep it up, and we'll be rid of her. But I hate to say that about her. I'll just say, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Right. Which is Christian saying, fuck you and go fuck off and die.
Borrow a page from Crystal's book.
That's right.
That's right, because Crystal says...
When people say that to me, that's like, I was like, oh, okay, thank you for saying fuck off and die. But saying it so nicely.
And with a smile.
And with a smile. Anyway, all right, let's get on to our next topic for this evening.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
And on tonight's Did You Know They Were an Atheist? We're going to be talking about somebody who has got a screen presence like nobody else. We're going to be talking about Jack Nicholson, from The Shining and A Few Good Men and a variety of other movies. And a quote he has here, it says, in a 1992 interview in Vanity Fair, Jack Nicholson said, "I don't believe in God now," but he added, "I can still work up an envy for someone who has a faith. I can see how that could be a deeply soothing experience." That's where I left off at that point. I don't quite agree with the last part, but some people might agree with that. But that's just my opinion. I find soothing experience in not believing. Because I don't have to worry about all the extra baggage that goes with it. But Jack Nicholson. And he was also born in April 22nd of 1937. And he's also directed and produced films as well. And he plays really good dark characters. Crystal, your thoughts?
Well, I don't have a whole lot to add. I think he's just such a respected actor, and I really just adore him. There's not anything that he can't play, and not anybody he can't play, and he doesn't give a fuck what people think about him.
That's right.
He just does not care, and I love people that are like that. I'm going to disagree with you over that, because I see what he's saying. He doesn't get comfort out of faith or belief or prayer or whatever, but he envies people that can get comfort from something from that. So, I mean, like, I can relate to that part of it, and that gave me even more respect for him. If he can respect that, we'd have a better world if we all could respect each other like that.
Well, I think, respect is a good thing we could have for each other. Yes, I agree with you there, yes.
Right, because, like, me, myself personally, I'm such a weird Christian as it is, but I don't want church and state together. No, absolutely not. And I guess I'm a fascist now, and I'm a liberal, and I'm a humanist, and I guess I'm just everything Glenn Beck hates. But Jack Nicholson would love me.
Oh, yeah. A lot of creationists out there, like Ken Ham, for example, he would say that you're more dangerous than we are. As atheists.
I am more dangerous.
That's right, because you believe, you still believe in God, but hey, you want everybody to be nice to each other and let people who want to be together, like homosexuals, be together and whatnot. But anyway, we're kind of going way off base here.
Because it's all about me.
That's right. It's all about you, Crystal. It's all about you, Crystal. Connie, your thoughts?
I think this man is just totally fascinating. A couple of my favorite quotes that I found was, "My religion is to be immediate, to live in the now." And another like that. A lot of people can't remember things because they weren't actually there to begin with. They didn't take it all in. And I go, I want to make a plaque of that, because that's how I feel. I love being present. I forget to take pictures. I forget to record things. But darn it, I'm always try to be fully there, and I just love that. But no, he's such a fascinating actor, because even though every time he's in a role, I'm going, this is the Joker, as Jack Nicholson. It's like,
where does he get such wonderful toys?
He eclipses every single. He's like a black hole, but he eclipses every single part he plays. But he becomes it's like the part becomes him, and he has usually a new and a fresh way of doing things. Just I don't know. He's this enigma. Because usually we think of an actor as being really great when they disappear in a role, which is still really amazing. But no,
and he's able to. And the best part is when he gets done with the role, he's able to move out of the role. And it's like, okay, that's a separated to the role. That's unfortunately that one actor who couldn't separate himself from it and end up accidentally killing himself. We all know who we're talking about there, who played the same role that Jack Nicholson played a while back. So.
Keith Ledger.
Yeah, Keith Ledger,
talking about the Joker.
Yeah, because Jack Nicholson played the Joker too, and he was able to step out of that. I was like, okay.
Didn't know how anybody was going to top that role. Role actually, and Ledger did his own take on it, but he was raised Catholic. Yeah, I found that out when he was raised and baptized and confirmed in the Catholic Church, and that was interesting. I didn't know that he'd actually been raised in any kind of faith at all. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if he's on Twitter, but if he is, find him. And there's probably other Jack Nicholsons out there, but they're probably not the one you're looking for. But yeah, I think he's a great actor. I've always had respect for him. I mean, because no one could act that crazy and be yet so sane. Just.
But yeah, he can get that. And these parts say you can see the tenderness in him. Without him, he's just amazing.
Oh yeah, when there's this one movie where he was married to this one woman who died, and then he would get into a mobile home, and he just drives across country to go meet somebody or whatever, and tries to respect his dead wife's wishes for a good portion of it until he realizes, hey, she's gone, and I need to move on. And it was a very good movie. I wish I could remember the name of it, but
As Good as It Gets is another one that he's another drama. I do love it when he moves out of his, kind of demonically, devilishly, wicked roles, and he stretches, and he's got some real chop. Oh, I have one more quote. It was really funny. In my last year of school, I was voted class optimist and class pessimist. Looking back, I realized I was only half right.
That's a great one.
And that's the other thing. I love his sense of humor. He's really, really witty.
Yes.
Funny.
Oh, man. Anyway, Jack Nicholson, an atheist and a damn good actor. Okay, well, that's it for us tonight, so we're going to get out of here. But before we get going, one last thing here. Again, if you want to call and leave a voicemail, we'll play it here on the show. The number again is 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727. Tell us what we got right. Tell us what we got wrong. Tell us anything. Tell us a bedtime story. I don't care. I need somebody to talk to me at night. I'm just kidding. But do please go to facebook.com/Packard Pokes At and hit the like button. We've got like 68 likes right now. And, the page has been up for about a year now. So let's hit those like buttons, everybody, please. And, so people can find us on Facebook. And, of course, find the show on iTunes and hit the thumbs up on that, or 5 stars, and leave a comment. That would also be helpful, too. Anyway.
And, look, Packard,
yes.
Let me just add one real quick thing in,
Sure.
because I'm on that page so much. You can actually still share that page with your other friends.
Yes.
And you use that, not just share that article, but share our page.
Yes.
With your group of folks. Not the ones that you don't want to get beat over the head with, but you're good folks, and share the page with us, because that really does draw people into the page for us. So
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful if you could do that.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't have the words anti-religion or atheist on the page in the name, so Packard Pokes At, no idea what that is. So hey, no one's gonna know your secret. That you're secretly an atheist. So just because you liked our show. So don't be afraid. Click the like button today, or tomorrow, or soon. Just do it. Anyway, we got to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for coming, and thanks everybody that came to the live show. And this has been Packard Pokes At. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.